Hi, everyone. Welcome to Did You Find What You Were Looking For podcast. Thaddeus A. I am the host and the first person here doing this podcast. I wanted to spend the first episode just introducing the purpose and telling a little bit about my story and the impetus of what we're trying to accomplish here. So first, I'm based here in Florida, my home in Tampa. I I'm quite young, if you couldn't tell. A lot of people look at me and instantly say, "Oh, that kid's like 18." I'm not 18, I promise. I'm married, three kids. I'm 29 years old right now, almost 30. Um, and the impetus of this podcast is I'm starting it not so much to gain a bunch of viewers, but really it's about the journey I'm on and hopefully connecting with other people doing a similar journey. About 10 years ago, I met Kyle Tarter, and he and I founded a company at the time called Prime Business Development. Prime Business Development evolved into another company called Mazzani. And I'm going to go through this impetus relatively quickly, knowing that it was filled with ups and downs, near failures and changes and pivots and lawsuits and issues and difficulties and not enough money to pay our payrolls moments, all those same moments that everybody has. And we'll talk about that down the road. But um, yeah, Kyle Tart and I founded a company almost 10 years ago. It was 2016, I guess. So 8, 9 years ago. Um, we'd only known each other for about a month. And we started this company called Prime Business Development. It was a long name. It was silly. We didn't really know what we were going to do. We weren't really qualified. I was 21. He was 22. We both just recently got married and we knew each other for about a month. I still feel like it's it's a miraculous thing that we founded a company, successfully ran it, sold it, and we're still friends, having known each other only for a month. So I feel like there's some, you know, divine connection there, and I'm just so grateful for that. But so Kyle and I ran that company with a variety of other partners and people. By no means was it just us two. But for simplicity of today's story, we ran that company, and in 2019, we merged that with another company called Buy Box Experts. They were a little more sophisticated than us. They're a little smaller than us, top line, bigger than us, bottom line, but they had a ton of sophistication. Their founder and their partners, Joe Hansen and James Thompson, they were well experienced, well versed in the Amazon marketing spaces, which is where we kind of developed. Right, we originated as like this idea was that we were a venture capital firm but basically we added services to the clients. So clients would give us some money, we would go and build their business from the ground up, and we'd find them a product, develop the product, build the website, create the logo, the marketing plan, run it on Amazon, run it on their website, and we would do this. And we weren't really that successful at first. And then eventually we started working with existing businesses. And then we started getting more and more involved in the Amazon marketing space, which is kind of where we scaled. So we grew to about 60 people, 70 people. We were making profit for the first real time in our existence. I was not making a ton of money, like 75 grand a year, when we merged with Buy Box Experts. Buy Box Experts, our goal was together we were a bigger company that allowed us to command more attention in the market. They had a great name, and like I said, they had a lot of sophistication. Their leaders had sold businesses before. Johansson had sold 4 or 5 companies. James Thompson had been a senior leader at Amazon, a PhD, and worked at Boston Consulting Group. They had these resumes and these experiences that we didn't, as young 20-year-olds. So our view was this was our chance to go from, an undergraduate to an MBA and hopefully make some money doing it. Both Kyle and I didn't graduate from college because we started this business in college. Anyway, so fast forward 2019, we merged the business. From 2019 to 2021, we were ruthlessly scaling that company. We focused tirelessly, and there were moments when we had ups and downs. I think COVID really saved our business, if we're honest. We were really struggling before COVID. COVID hit, and e-commerce boomed, and so did our company. That helped us grow to roughly 300 total employees worldwide. We're about 150 to 200 internationally and 100-ish locally in the United States. We were a virtual company. Um, and we were roughly 12-ish million dollars in revenue, so not huge. But we were in this unique niche that demanded a big multiple, and we were a bigger company within the space. There weren't a lot of agencies within our niche that were our size and profitable. So while we weren't very profitable, we got a great multiple. A company called Spreetail bought us in 2021, in May of 2021. This is kind of the impetus of the podcast. So my journey, we sold the business in 2021. And I remember just so vividly, the day that we sold the company, we were actually having my son's birthday party. He was turning 1 year old. And I have 3 kids now. Like I said, I've been married to Abby, since 2016. And we had our first kid actually before, our first anniversary, which was, an adventure, right, all around. But anyway, so I was at my son's birthday party. We just sold our business. One of my friends comes up to me and he says, "Hey, so you're a millionaire now, right?" And I think that at that moment, it, it hit me that I was. And I was like, yeah. And I started feeling really good about myself for a second. And I expected a lot to change. I expected fireworks shows and this immense sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. And like I had arrived and almost like a destination type feeling, right? Like you got to a destination, you finished the hike, you finished the journey. Um, and I didn't, there was none of that. I remember waking up multiple times in the morning and feeling stressed. And the first thing I would do, I'd say, I'm just going to look at my bank account. I'm not going to feel stressed if I have $1 million in my bank account. So I do that. Well, stress didn't stop. Anxiety didn't stop. Fear of loss, fear of failure didn't all of a sudden stop. Immense security wasn't even there. I mean, there was a significant amount of security that comes from knowing that maybe you're not in need of money, right? That you have flexibility and you can be fluid in maybe some of your professional endeavors, but so there was some of that allowed, I think, some capacity for maybe elevated thinking on my end. Um, Not short term, but I was 25, I had a few $1 million, and all of a sudden I thought I should feel different, right? I should feel better. It should be a different experience, right? This title, this label. It didn't. I'll just repeatedly say that it didn't change me. I wasn't a different person. All of a sudden, I didn't feel happier or more successful. So I think from there, I think it was a journey. And I remember there was one period of my life where I was probably getting lazy with some of my habits. I was watching too much TV. Um, this was 6 or 7 months later. I probably wasn't diligent with my diet. I definitely wasn't diligent with my diet. I was maybe I just felt like I was getting casual, and in some ways, I felt like I started to feel like I was successful. Therefore, what I did was successful. Um, you know, because I was successful. If I wanted to watch TV for 6 hours, meant that was what successful people did, right? And I had these moments of having to realize that that's not true. Um, Success, the audacity and the arrogance of a 25-year-old kid to think that he was successful, to think that I was successful, to think that I had achieved something was just it was ridiculous. And I think I was humbled over preceding periods of my life to realize that I have so much to learn. Financial success is just this silo, and it doesn't mean we're overall successful. It doesn't create happiness, security, peace. It doesn't all of a sudden solve world's problems. While it can help, and it does, sure, we went on some cool vacations. Sure, we bought a few cool things. Those don't last either, right? Like you get excited, you buy it, you experience it, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So my journey has taught me that this financial success, this pursuit that I've had was not, was insatiable, right? So then what should I be pursuing? Is this different from other people? I became obsessed. I actually really liked biographies before that, but I have subsequently spent hours and hours reading about really successful people from ancient times, like with philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, to more recent times in history with like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, some of those founders here in the United States, to business tycoons like Warren Buffett, Sam Walton, Jeff Bezos, Phil Knight. You go down the list of all of these really successful people. Just trying to understand like what is successful people, right? And you find that everyone is different. First of all, Elon Musk, right? Like, I just think that we've prioritized the pursuit of money in this society and glamorized it and made it seem that that is the ultimate pursuit. And I was in New Zealand earlier this year visiting family. My wife's mom, my mother-in-law, was there on a mission trip as a volunteer attorney. And then my dad's actually from New Zealand, so we have some cousins there. So we're spending some time there, and I was just seeing the simplicity and happiness that existed with so many of those people. And they weren't consumed with their work, right? Their work wasn't their definition. For me, it was like, at that point in my life, if work was failing, I wasn't good enough, right? Like that was such an integral part of my identity. And truthfully, it still is in some ways. I talk about some of this in past tense. Like this is a journey. I don't think that there's a fixed state. But it was such an integral part of my identity that, having a bad day at work was a bad thing. If I lost my money, why would anybody want to talk to me? If I was unsuccessful, why would my family care to be with me? If I couldn't do this, if I couldn't do that. And it's similar, I think, to when I was in high school playing football and thinking that that was my identity. And I think that as I've kind of progressed here, is money is not our identity. Our financial success should not be our identity. My family and those many people I met in New Zealand, their identity was many of them that I met was built into who they were with their family, their friends, their relationships. If they could get up and go to the gym or go to the ocean or go do all of these variety activities and connect with individuals and families. And that's when I said, man, my life needs to be focused on that. I have to change who I am internally, not externally, who I am internally. And so I've pivoted my whole career to be focused on the thing that I read to myself right now that I'm trying to really progress is that love is my primary motivation. I don't act out of fear. And I am currently, I'm in private wealth management. I work with entrepreneurs and business owners that are, growing their businesses, exiting their businesses, buying businesses, et cetera. And we just help them on their tax, estate, and investment side of the business. Investment side, we help them and their families. And I think my focus there is just on helping other people going through similar experiences. And then I started thinking about how I could connect with even more. And I wanted to start this podcast, not so much that people could listen. I mean, I hope somebody listens to it, maybe. Maybe I don't hope so. I'm trying to be really authentic and genuine. So I'm sure I'll share personal and embarrassing things at times. But I wanted to meet with other people on this journey, some of which I have deep relationships with, some of which I don't. The intention is to understand, did they find what they were looking for on this journey? How has their motivation changed since the beginning? Is it possible for us to change our motives and to find more fulfillment during the ride and not just like me after this crazy entrepreneurial experience? Could I have years ago said to myself, this is my definition of success, and adopted that better? My mom passed away as a kid, and I didn't get to know her super well. So I have been interviewing family members that knew her. And one of the things that stands out to me is that for her, her worth was tied up into her family, which I think that truthfully, our worth shouldn't be associated too much with one thing. It should be this. I mean, we're balanced human beings, but for her, I find this is better than my professional worth is that if nothing else worked, she would be fine because she had us as her kids. Um, and that was something that has been repeated over and over and over again. There was nothing that mattered more to her. And I started asking myself, there was nothing that mattered more to me than what? And if I was being honest, in those days, I think it would have had to have been my financial and business success. Um, I miss, you know, definitely a lot of time with my kids and family and mentally more than anything, right? Even if you were there present, you're thinking about something else because it's on your mind. Now I struggle even with that still. It's like if there's a free moment in time, and I'm not thinking strategically about one of my businesses or one of my investments or a client, I'm wasting that time. Life is short, and we're going to have a lot of pressures in this life. And I think my hope in this journey is that I can help myself better define success and help other people better define success. And that success is not defined merely as what's in your bank account or what you've done in your career, that our identity isn't associated with a title, a dollar amount. Um, our identity isn't associated with our home, our cars, our house, our clothes. Our identity should be associated with who we are as a person. Um, and our measures of success shouldn't be isolated either. Warren Buffett talks about when he started making money, all these people kept sending him questions about marriage and religion and other topics because if you have money, you must know, right? You must know the answers. And I think the problem is most of us, I'm on nowhere near his level, but when you have money and you start believing that and inhaling, you think that you do have the answers. You start giving answers rather than us saying, well, wait a second, let's find that value. So, like I said, I'm on a journey to better define success and to change the definition of success in me. I think it should be deeply personal. It should be based around our values and what matters to us. It should be balanced across things. Obviously, you can be wildly successful within your home, but you have to have a baseline of the ability to provide. I'm in no way done pursuing money, but I hope that money is a result of my pursuits and my focus is not a priority. And I believe it will be, right? Even in the last few years of my career, I've changed my tune from having valuation and money as the goal to being customer obsessed. And that customer obsession has given me that sense of fulfillment, right? That motivation of love. I deeply want this customer to succeed. That's why I have this business. That's why I have this product. That's why I'm working with them. That's why I wake up in the morning. So I'm definitely still pursuing money in my life. Money is a good thing. It can be a very good thing. It's what we make it. But my hope is we can define success so we can truly find what we're looking for, because most of us are looking for what we're told to look for rather than taking a minute to define our measures of success that are unique to us, our families, and this short life that we have to live shouldn't be lived through somebody else's hopes, dreams, opinions, and desires. It should be lived through our deliberate and intentional values and beliefs, focused on deliberate and intentional measures of success that aren't competitive, that aren't relative, that aren't arbitrary, that aren't better than somebody else or worse than somebody else, but they're just innately ours. I hope that, I hate having people tell me how to live, to be honest. So I want to say that I want to do that as little as possible and hope that our stories from myself, stories from those that I interview, can resonate. We'll be interviewing tons of different people. My intention is to interview hundreds of people at varying stages in their journey, people that I've connected with and networked with and learned from, and some that will be new to me. I know that I have a lot to learn, and by no means is this a finished project. This is me saying I'm on the journey. Let's do it together. anyways, I appreciate your time. I'm going to try to make these shorter because we don't have a lot of time, and I feel humbled if somebody is willing to spend 20, 30, 40 minutes listening to me and those I bring on. Um, Thank you. And I'm looking forward to sharing these interviews and these journeys, this journey with you. And hopefully together we can better define success and help people find the focus that actually does allow them to find what they're looking for. Um, Anyways, thank you, and looking forward to this journey.